Right now, the map of the Middle East is being violently redrawn, and almost everyone is missing the true scale of what just happened. In a single 12-hour window, the United States and Israel unleashed nearly 900 devastating airstrikes directly onto Iranian soil. 900 strikes. These are not warning shots. The world is watching Operation Epic Fury, a massive assault using B-2 stealth bombers to drop bunker-buster bombs on deep underground targets. But here is the massive detail the mainstream headlines are missing. This is not just about taking out missile silos. This is an absolute surgical decapitation of the Iranian state. To understand the terrifying reality of what comes next before anyone else does, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. This channel delivers the unfiltered truth behind breaking global conflicts, and subscribing guarantees a front row seat as the story unfolds. As the dust settles over Tehran, the harsh reality is setting in. These daytime strikes targeted the most secure locations on the map, resulting in the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, alongside top military commanders. For decades, the global community danced around the threat of a full-scale war, relying on sanctions and proxy battles. All of those unwritten rules were just blown to pieces when 900 bombs rained down in broad daylight. The objective is no longer containment. The objective is total regime change. Most people hear the number 900 and just think of it as a statistic. They do not realize every single target was chosen to completely erase Iran's ability to ever attack its neighbors again. No more drones, no more navy. But what does a cornered nation do when its leadership is wiped out in a single afternoon? Surrender is not the answer. In those exact same 12 hours, Iran unleashed a barrage of 300 ballistic missiles, lighting up skies over Israel and American bases across the Persian Gulf. The chessboard has been flipped. The old rules are completely dead. Think about what happens after the missiles fly. The real danger is not just the massive explosions in the capital city. The true danger is what happens next in the shadows when a powerful nation loses its top leadership in a matter of minutes. Chaos instantly takes over. A highly trained network of proxy fighters has been built over many decades. Right now, news cameras are focused entirely on the smoke rising from destroyed military bases, but they are ignoring the armed sleeper groups waking up across the entire Middle East. These militant groups have been waiting for exactly this kind of extreme trigger. This brings the story to the biggest detail. Almost everyone is completely missing right now. Look at the global supply lines. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow passage of water, but it is the single most important checkpoint for oil on the planet. Millions of barrels move through there every single day to keep the global economy alive. Immediately after the daytime strikes began, military reports confirmed aggressive moves to shut this vital waterway completely down. Sea mines are being deployed into the shipping lanes. Fast attack boats are swarming the waters. If that route stays closed, the price of fuel across the globe will absolutely explode. The cost to ship basic food supplies will double overnight. This is exactly how a massive conflict of thousands of miles away suddenly empties wallets at the local gas station and the grocery store. Then there is the reaction from the rest of the world. A massive operation like this instantly wakes up the other giants in the room. Russia and China are watching every single second of this unfold. Both nations have deep economic and military agreements with Tehran. By launching an overwhelming daylight attack, a blazing message was just sent directly to Moscow and Beijing. It loudly proves that the old red lines no longer exist. But these massive global powers will not just sit quietly and watch. The emergency security meetings are happening right now behind closed doors in foreign capitals to decide their immediate countermoves. The sheer speed and timing of this operation is what shocks military experts the most. 900 strikes during the daytime breaks every established rule of modern combat. Attacks of this massive size almost always happen under the cover of total darkness to protect the pilots. Striking in broad daylight was a calculated choice to show absolute, untouchable dominance in the sky. But this aggressive show of pure military force has pushed the world to the very edge of a deep cliff. The retaliation seen so far is just the beginning. The second wave is being prepared right now, and it involves a terrifying strategy that defense analysts have feared for years. Consider the terrifying reality of this second wave. When 900 daytime bombs destroy military bases, the retaliation does not just come back as more rockets in the sky. The most dangerous counterattack is entirely silent, and it is already being unleashed. Most people are glued to screens, watching fiery explosions, completely missing that the next major phase of this conflict is digital. For over a decade, a massive and highly aggressive cyber army has been built in the shadows. Now, with physical weapons heavily damaged, the command has shifted to a total digital warfare. Right now, aggressive cyber attacks are hammering critical systems across the globe. This involves the power grids that keep entire cities running and the global banking networks that process every financial transaction. The strategy is incredibly simple but absolutely devastating. If a nation cannot win a physical fight in the sky, it will try to plunge the enemy into total darkness on the ground. Advanced defense systems can intercept a flying ballistic missile, but stopping a massive digital virus from freezing a major stock exchange is a completely different nightmare. This is exactly why the true meaning of these massive daylight strikes goes far beyond the borders of the Middle East. It directly threatens how daily life functions for regular citizens thousands of miles away from the blast zones. Picture a morning where cash machines are completely dead, hospital databases are frozen solid, and emergency communication lines drop offline. That is the exact modern warfare model activated when a powerful nation too is pushed to the edge. The target is no longer just enemy soldiers. The target is daily civilian survival, designed to create maximum public panic and chaos. The hidden danger extends far beyond computer screens. Global intelligence networks are currently flashing extreme red alerts regarding highly trained actors already positioned inside major cities worldwide. The ultimate call for revenge has been broadcast loud and clear. When state leadership is violently erased in broad daylight, it triggers an unpredictable wave of extreme underground retaliation. Security forces at major airports, train networks, and national monuments are quietly moving to the absolute highest alert levels possible. The greatest fear among top military officials is no longer the retaliation seen on a radar screen. It is the danger they will never see coming until the damage is already done. Now look at the immediate neighborhood. The map of alliances is tearing itself apart in real time. Most people assume that neighboring countries are safely watching this happen from the sidelines. That is a massive mistake. When the sky fills with 900 bombs in a single afternoon, neutrality completely dies. Nations like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt are being forced into a corner to make an impossible choice, right this very second. Do they open their airspace to allow the next wave of bombers to pass through, or do they block the skies and risk becoming the enemy? There's absolutely zero middle ground left. The quiet, secret handshake deals that kept the Middle East stable for 50 years have just been burned to ash. Military bases hosting foreign troops in places like Iraq and Syria are essentially trapped. They are small islands of soldiers, completely surrounded by furious, hostile forces. Moving ground reinforcements in or out is becoming impossible because the skies above them are simply too dangerous to fly through. But here is the most terrifying, unspoken question hanging over the globe right now. What actually happened to the deep underground nuclear facilities? The official news reports proudly mention bunker buster bombs dropping from stealth planes, but they deliberately leave out the most chilling detail. If those deep mountain facilities were successfully breached, the deadly physical fallout spreading across the region is that catastrophic. But if they were not completely destroyed, the surviving military command now has the ultimate excuse to rush for a final terrifying weapon. They have absolutely nothing left to lose. Every single global market is reacting in pure, blind panic. It is no longer just the price of oil going crazy. The cost of gold is surging to record highs, and nervous investors are pulling trillions of dollars out of the stock market. Why? Because the smartest people in the financial world know a horrifying truth. You do not drop 900 bombs in broad daylight and go back to normal life the next week. This is the official start of a grinding global crisis, and the world is just waking up. Look at the oceans right now. The water is rapidly filling with the most powerful warships ever built. It is not just the Middle East that is completely transformed. The United States and its closest allies are aggressively repositioning entire naval fleets, pulling them away from other global hotspots and rushing them straight toward the Persian Gulf. The reality includes massive aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and destroyers armed to the absolute teeth. This massive movement leaves a giant, dangerous vacuum in places like the South China Sea. If you think rival nations will not take advantage of those empty waters while the military is distracted, you are completely missing the big picture. This is exactly why staying subscribed to this channel is an absolute must. The mainstream broadcasts are only showing the explosions, but this channel connects the dots on how this massive, global chess game actually affects the future. Hit that subscribe button right now to stay completely informed before the next wave hits. Now, think about what is happening inside the borders of the countries that launched this massive daylight attack. When nearly 900 bombs are dropped, a nation cannot just pretend life goes on as normal back home. The reality of a wartime economy is crashing down fast. Defense contractors are suddenly moving into overdrive, running factories 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to replace the massive number of extremely expensive weapons that were used in those 12 hours. But who pays for all of this? The average citizen does. The financial cost of an operation this massive instantly runs into the hundreds of billions of dollars. The immediate panic is bleeding into the streets. Security perimeters around major government buildings and military bases in the West are being locked down tight. Citizens are waking up to the uncomfortable truth that their cities are now active targets in a massive, unpredictable war. The illusion of safety has been completely shattered. You cannot erase the leadership of a powerful nation in broad daylight and expect major cities to remain completely untouched. The fear of sudden, violent attacks has forced a heavy, nervous silence over major urban centers. People are watching the skies, completely unsure of what the next horrific breaking news alert will bring. The psychological weight of this sudden escalation is extremely heavy, and the entire world is holding its breath. Now, look directly into the smoking crater of leadership left behind in the capital. When a massive government structure is vaporized from the sky, a terrifying power vacuum is created on the ground in seconds. The remaining generals are not peacefully organizing a new government. They are ruthlessly fighting each other in the dark to take total control of whatever military machine is left. Regular citizens are completely trapped, terrified of the stealth bombers above and the violent civil war exploding right outside their doors. The entire country has fractured into unpredictable combat zones. This chaos leads to the most dangerous weapon being deployed right this very second, which is the absolute blackout of information. Major internet cables are being severed. Cell phone towers are burning to the ground. State television shows nothing but dead static. The goal is to completely blind the population and confuse the outside world. This is exactly why you must hit that subscribe button right now. When massive governments hide the terrifying reality of this global crisis, this channel guarantees the raw, unfiltered truth. Subscribe right now to ensure you are never left in the dark as this dangerous story unfolds. While the targeted nation burns, the surviving underground leaders have activated their most desperate protocol. The physical military is crippled, but the global network of highly trained proxy fighters is fully operational. Extremely angry, secret messages are bypassing the destroyed grids, carrying direct orders to strike soft, unprotected targets. The focus is no longer on military bases. The new targets are massive civilian centers, crowded transit hubs, and international shipping ports. The horrifying truth is that these 900 daylight strikes were not the end of a war. They were the extremely violent opening bell of a new nightmare. The military architects believed they could force into immediately surrender in a single afternoon. Instead of a clean victory, they accidentally triggered a shockwave of unpredictable global terror. The countdown clock to the next catastrophic attack is ticking down incredibly fast. And the absolute worst part is that nobody knows exactly where the next massive explosion will happen. As the sun finally sets on the most violent day in modern military history, the entire globe is waking up to a completely terrifying new reality. The history books will forever mark this exact moment. As the day the world officially broke, 900 bombs falling in broad daylight did not just destroy a nation's military. It completely destroyed the illusion of global safety. Every single diplomatic treaty and every unwritten rule of combat has been thrown straight into the fire. We have just crossed the point of no return. The giant superpowers are taking off the gloves, and the violent consequences will bleed into every single corner of the Earth. This is not just a story about generals and stealth bombers anymore. It is about waking up tomorrow and finding out the price of everything you need to survive has doubled overnight. It is about massive digital attacks wiping out your access to your own bank account. The total fallout from these 900 daylight strikes is rushing toward your front door like a silent, deadly tidal wave. The old world is completely gone. The new world being born right now is entirely unpredictable and extremely dangerous. This is exactly why you cannot afford to look away for a single second. The mainstream networks are already trying to soften the blow and hide the truly terrifying details of what comes next. If you want to survive the absolute chaos that is unfolding right now, you need the hard, unfiltered truth. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on every single notification. This is the only place you will get the raw facts before the rest of the world even realizes what hit them. Subscribing is about protecting yourself by staying one step ahead of a global disaster. Hit subscribe right now. The most chilling truth of all is that the worst is absolutely not over. The surviving underground factions are not waving white flags. They are pulling out the most dangerous weapons they have left. The 900 daytime strikes were just the match being struck. The global retaliation that will drag every major superpower into the mud is just beginning to catch fire. The board is set. The pieces are moving. The next 24 hours will decide the absolute fate of the modern world.